Jesus. So, I do want to talk about the lesson on Jesus. I feel like one of the lessons in the Bible. And the reason why I'm referencing this is because I feel like if you Christ conscious, you still believe that Jesus was here at some point. The energy and the essence and a person that could actually be pure on this earth. That's not far fetched. Especially if you are a person that really is a person that even have a hard time trying to intentionally hurt someone else. And so even people like that still make a lot of mistakes because nobody's perfect, you know? But at the same time, we are perfectly imperfect. So I still believe that there's beauty in imperfection. So what is the definition of perfection? I don't really feel like someone can define perfection. I feel like everyone has a different perception. And so I just wrote something and I just got it. I wanted to release, you know. So I have received that and really understanding and resonating the energy of Jesus, that Jesus sacrificed himself so we wouldn't have to. And that is a very powerful message within itself, even if you are not a believer. I feel like in everything we can learn. So whether you believe or not, which I do believe that, yes, I do believe that Jesus really sacrificed himself and he came here to help spread the word. Yes, but in a, dissecting point of view, even if I wasn't a believer, even if even if I didn't, I would still be like, what is the lesson in this whole, message of Christ? And it's like Jesus sacrificed himself so you wouldn't have to. There's a lot of times where we as people will sacrifice our sanity and our peace of mind to make sure that everyone else is good. And that could be with anyone. That could be with anything, like something that you really want to go after and you're sacrificing everything for this one thing and you have other obligations in life. People pleasing, that's a self-sacrificing thing within itself. We know as people at this point that people have to be at some type of state of mind where they want to get better and they have to choose that on their own. That's their own decision. And we as people cannot try to force anyone. We can only give our viewpoints, our side. And even if we are a person that can put ourselves in everyone else's shoes, don't mean that someone else can. That can be self-sacrificing because you know that you're doing things where you're overdoing it. And it's not even working because, nobody asked you. Or they're not at that level. Or they don't want it. Or they don't understand. They're not on the same vibration, and that's okay. We are radio stations, and some of them we vibe with, and some of them we may not. It's just a different level, and we have a preference and of the energies we choose to, you know, surround ourselves with in this world. And so that was my spiel on the fact of one of the lessons is, yes, he sacrificed himself. He was willing to die, you know, and he spread the word. And I can understand that because even in the Ten Commandments, come on, if you have a moral compass, it's not asking a lot from us as people, you know. So it just depends on how you see it. You know, you can comment if you have your viewpoints on it. But in my viewpoint, one of my viewpoints is, in the lesson is, you have to really decide what your boundaries are. You have to really decide what your morals are. And you really have to have a sense of peace and joy within yourself when you choose to make choices, you know, in life. We can sacrifice ourselves to situations or people and they never even notice. They never even notice, guys. So that, I feel like, is something that you have to learn with having boundaries for yourself. And it's really, some people, I know people that, you know, they can keep their boundaries with themselves. They've implemented it over and over again. It takes practice, guys. You know, if I want to be honest, it takes practice when it comes to that, because I'm also dealing with that. It's like, if I said I ain't gonna do this, I ain't gonna do this. Why keep doing it? Or, you know, maybe you need to look at your boundaries. Did you make something that was just too off the wall because you was in your emotion and, you know, you didn't look at it from a different viewpoint? It could have been anything. So there's always, every day, you can make the choice to change something that you was like, you know what, I ain't never gonna do that. And then decide to, okay, hold on, I might, you know, hey, I'm looking at it from a different viewpoint. I'm growing, or, you know, I'm maturing. So, or I learned that lesson and I don't want to repeat that lesson, or that lesson it brought me, you know, some good times, some blessings. So we all have to make, you know, different choices, but it's really about, you know, evaluating yourself every day, because ultimately we get choices, you know, and you are in charge of yourself. And ultimately you got to see what you're willing to put up with, what you're not. And are you just, you know, going along with everything to appease other people, which you're sacrificing your true self? If this is something that you wouldn't normally do, why do it? So even you know, because that's something that's real, and you can sacrifice yourself, and like I said, they don't even notice. So you got to notice, and you really got to be in tune with, and this, I'm talking to myself, y'all, too. You got to really be in tune with what you feel, what you know, and really make that choice to make the decisions that are best for you. Only you know what's best for you deep down inside. So can't nobody, you know, you can tell people what you want, but really deep down inside, only you know. And, you know, also with the divine one, our parents, our mother and our father also knows the desires and what we need sometimes when we don't even know we need it. So I just say this to say, Jesus sacrificed so you wouldn't have to sacrifice yourself. You don't have to always, well, I sacrifice the things I like to do because I got to help such and such, or I got to do this, or I got to make money. It's some sacrifices where it's like we have to choose what is most important to us. And even for love has boundaries, because as far as now, I believe in unlimited love. I really believe in, love that is, you know, endless. You don't really have to. I can not like you and still love you. I can, which there ain't that many people I don't like, because really they don't like me. And I can still love you because you, at some capacity, I can relate to you in some way. I know I could find a way that we have similarities, So in situations like that, it's just a lot of us, we aren't walking around trying to, we're not judging others because we don't have time for that. We don't know the day, the time, nor the hour when it's going to be time for us to leave this place. We have loved ones that we may leave behind. We got things that we may have wanted to accomplish. We got people that we needed to forgive, people that needed to forgive us, or not even that, making peace with. Sometimes forgiveness is just something that you have to go within to get, and that's most of the time. That's all the time. And then it's because we can't really force anyone to, be the peace for us. That's why we have to provide our own peace. But this just came to mind because it was like, even within a lesson, it's like, there's so many times where people, even the saying, the good guys finish last, it within itself shows that there, if you look at it from different perspectives, there is good with being the good person, and there's some things that you can look at it from a different aspect where it's like being good all the time is good, but you have to even reevaluate what do you feel like good is, because there's situations where we're being good and we're doing what we think is right in these situations, and we could be stagnating someone else's growth as well as our own, just trying to be good. So again, everything can be looked at a different aspect. And I just feel like that lesson was very powerful, because it's like, even if you don't believe, let's look at it. It's like, let's look at the lesson. The lesson is, why are you sacrificing yourself for someone else's happiness? Why are you spending so much time focused on how to please someone else on this earth when we don't know how much time we have? So that's one of the lessons. And like I said, it could even be work. It's like, well, I'll sacrifice myself and just stay after if somebody doesn't come in on time. That's cool. But then sometimes it's like, hey, I don't want to stay after work today. Dang, can't we rotate this? I got stuff to do. I got a family just like you do. I got things to do after. I might have another job. So with everything, again, it always puts me in perspective and bring me back to reality. Like, hey. Sometimes things aren't going the way you want them to go, and they could have went if you just would have not tried to you basically sacrificed yourself because you wasn't honest. You didn't open up your mouth. You didn't speak up. You know, there's so many ways that we sacrifice ourselves. So again, this lesson is just about Jesus did it for you. You know, if you believe in it, and just even in the lesson, like I said, if you believe in Jesus, Christ conscious, which I do. Yes, I believe. I know. I'll say I know. I'm not even, like I said, believe it has the word lie in it. So it's like, and the way I feel in my heart is I know I'm Christ conscious, and I really understand that it's also a bigger meaning to the sacrifice thing. It's like love on yourself. Really find out who you truly are, because even with finding out who you truly are, if you are a person that people look up to, or you have, you know, kids of your own, how can they ever find out who they are if their parents, you know, sometimes don't take time out? Well, they can find out quicker, you know, and we can help them, you know, find out who they are, what they really like, what they want to be sooner in life, and let them find out on their own by experience, but also providing them those conversations and the showing that you are growing and showing them that you've learned this and telling them what you can, you know. You don't have to harp down their neck. You can find a funny way to, you know, do it, but I am really big on everybody finding out what you like to do, especially if you a parent and you've been having kids for most of your adult life. It's like you will lose yourself in just trying to be the best parent you can be. And you're supposed to be the best parent you can be. And at the same time, we have to work on loving ourselves. That's a part of being the best parent you can be, is finding out who you truly are, taking off your mask, and really being honest with yourself, and having boundaries put up, you know, and some really honest boundaries with yourself, really healthy boundaries with yourself. And again, I tell myself this. So I just wanted to bring this message to you guys, and this is something that I just downloaded, like, it was just downloaded to me, like, yeah. Jesus sacrificed so we wouldn't have to. So yes, there's sacrifice. Yes, we have sacrifices, and we do have to make sacrifices in some situations, but you have to have boundaries within the sacrifices. Jesus died. So, you know, at the end of the day, and rose, which, of course, a part of you is going to die. A part of your, you know, habits may die. A part of some of your friendships and relationships may die. But ultimately, you can raise back up, and you can begin to live again, and you can live with yourself, and you can actually feel good about yourself because you're making different decisions, or healthy decisions for yourself, where you implemented boundaries. And if you stick within your boundaries, you don't have to kill yourself, sacrifice your happiness or your joy or your peace of mind for someone else or for another situation. So, thank you guys for listening. Take care. Bye.